Hi, y'all. Wow. There's a phrase that keeps going through my head where everyone's like, things are going to get better. Um, God will never give you any more than what you can handle. And I don't know. Those thoughts have been running through my mind for a while, actually. And I'm like, being reminded by God that is not that he won't give me more than I can handle. He won't give me any more than he can handle. And oh my word, he can handle so much more than I could ever handle. And I know that. And to take, what's the word? Solace in that even though I feel like I can't handle what may be going on in my life, God can handle it. It makes me closer to God because I need him in my life. I want him in my life. And something people have made comments about is, don't give up. And I'm telling you one thing, I know for a fact that I could never do this life without him. I know that he is a very important part in my life. And I would not even want to try to live this life on this earth without God. Because the things that I feel like maybe I would break, I know he's not surprised about. And yes, I tend to, I know myself, I tend to just like freak out and, I can't do this kind of thing. But then when I'm get with God and I'm talking to him, and I know that he's going to get me through. And I don't know, I've been thinking about that, and I'm thinking, I may think that what may be going on in my life, I'm not going to get through. But God never promised that being a Christian, that I would never have any problems. I mean, it's been reminded over and over and over again that, when we are like Christ, or we are Christ followers, and we are supposed to be like him, then how can I think that I would never go through anything? Because Jesus went through so much here on this earth, and people didn't like him. So how can I expect everybody to like me? He went through so much, and I can't expect any more for myself than what Jesus went through here on this earth. And just thinking about that just reminds me that, yeah, things may be hard, and I might feel like pressure's going, and I don't know, my brain ready about to explode with everything. But I know God is in control. And like this one phrase that keeps going, I shouldn't say phrase, but what has come across my path was the saying, and I have like literally stood on this, is the fact that when God is in control, nothing is out of control. In other words, he knew what was going to happen. He knows what's going to happen. He knows everything about my life. He knows before anything happens to me. He knew that it was going to happen, and he knows how I'm going to get through that. He knows how my family's going to get through that. And I take solace in that, the fact that, God is in control. I'm not saying I don't break down, I don't cry, I don't feel overwhelmed, because, I'm human. I'm not immortal, and there are things that really bog me down, that burden me. But I also know that in the end, after I've had my cries and had all this stress talking and freaking out and everything else, I know that God is in control. I know that he's going to get me through whatever it is that he's going to get me through. So, and just something for you guys to think about, that whatever you're going through, God already knew about it. God knows. And there's a song, and I'm trying to think, it's a K-Lo song, is God Already Knows. God Only Knows, that's the name of it. And that song has resonated with me to know the fact that He already knows. He knows what we go through. It is no surprise to Him. It was a Facebook post that a friend posted saying something about when you realize that, you know, what you're going through, God already knew that was going to happen, and He's there with you. Paraphrasing what it was said, but to know that God is in control, and that whatever comes my way or your way, it doesn't surprise Him. And the fact is that when we lean on Him, that's when we see His hand, and He will guide us through what we are to go through. And that to me is awesome, to know that whatever's going on in my life, whatever's going on in your life, that it doesn't surprise God. And He wants us to have that relationship with Him to where we feel comfortable to say, God, help me. You know, and not worry about that He's going to come down with a hammer and say, hey, you should have this faith, you know, you should do this kind of thing. He's not that kind of a God. He wants us to cry out. He wants us to talk to Him. And I know myself that talking to Him makes me feel so much better. I mean, doesn't stop all the stuff that's going around. It doesn't stop things that are maybe pressuring and making me feel overwhelmed. It doesn't stop that. But to know that I can literally freak out on God, and He's not going to say, okay, daughter, you don't really trust me. He already knows how I feel. So why lie to God? Why lie to my Father in how I feel? Why should you lie and pretend that you're okay if you're not okay? Because God already knows. He knows what you're going through. He knows what you need. And that's when we just be ourselves. And I'm myself when God and I talk. I mean, I talk to Him just as if I'm like talking to you guys. It's awesome to be able to go to God and say, God, I can't do this, but I know that you can help me through this. I know that you're going to help me through this, but please help my unbelief right now, because right now I don't have that belief that it's going to get better. God already knows. So why are we holding back from being truthful and honest with God? Why do we feel like, I know like with myself, I mean, why do we go and just say all these platitudes and everything else and pretend everything's okay if it's not okay? Because God already knows. And that's awesome. My God knows what I'm going through. My God knows what you're going through. And I hope and pray that you realize that and just go to God and be real with Him, because He already knows. Stop pretending and being somebody you're not when you go and talk to God, because God already knows. Thanks for listening, and please be yourself when you go to God, because He's amazing and awesome, and there's so many words I could give you of description of our God. Oh my word, He is just wow. And He sends things in the most awesome ways, and He sends people into our lives. He uses people to help guide us in the areas that we need guided. Open your eyes. Asking God to open your eyes that you might see, that you might hear what He has to say, and to keep encouraged, because He's there. He's going to help you through whatever you go through, and I know He's going to help me through whatever I'm going through. And I'm just, I don't know, just thinking, and oh my word, I wish that I could give you guys the feelings that I get sometimes when I'm just thinking about God, because it's just like, it's so overwhelming, the fact that my God loves me and He's here with me no matter what I go through. And that's just, to me, is awesome. So thanks for listening, and God bless. Have a good day.